Hey guys, welcome back to rhrjen. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jen. Welcome everyone. Honk honk. A honk because one of Megan's minions told me I sound like a drunk goose. I've been honking ever since. I have to remind people of that because I still get questioned quite a bit. Why do you honk? That's why. Guys, welcome to the show. I'm so excited you're here. We have a really good one today. If you didn't get a hint from this, fire me. Oh my gosh, we're going to talk about Megan as a boss. Megan is a girl boss. Anybody else find that just so condescending? Me? Okay, cool. Me too. Seriously, like, and I've been in, I've led a group before in my past life and stuff, and I've been that person. I think a lot of us have been. I just find that term very condescending, but that's a whole other topic. Anyway, today we're talking, speaking of condescending, we're talking Meghan Markle. We're talking about what she'd be like to work for. It's not great. Now in case you missed yesterday's show, what are you thinking? Go watch it. We celebrated Sophie's birthday, and also I rolled out a new feature that will be making appearances on my show. And that's my crown. I just feel like we cannot talk about a toxic workplace environment that would be led by Meghan without, bringing out a crown, right? You got to stay fashionable. All right, let's talk about this. So today I'm actually diving into this article right here by Daily Mail. Meghan Markle is like a mean girl's teenager and would become cold and throw staff to the wolves when something went poorly, often due to her own demands. Bombshell article claims. Dun, dun, dun. Let's talk about this real quick. Okay. So again, now you see why this was important. Thank you to everybody who left me the nicest comments saying that it suited me and it looked great and you like the blue. Me too. Thank you, Spicy, for the crown. Okay. Let's talk about this. Yeah. So again, it's not a shocker, but I find it interesting that more of these stories are coming out as more people are fed up with their antics. And I think this is important. Again, I understand why we might disagree on whether or not her beige, you gotta say it like it's putting your face to sleep, beige, is boring. It is. But I get why people might just be like, what? That, whatever. She can wear what she wants. Fine. Not the red dress, but fine. Okay. An argument can be made there. But I don't think we can ignore this type of thing. I think it's too important to not discuss thoroughly. And I always say where there's smoke, there's fire. Again, when you hire and fire a bunch of people, I understand when you have a large staff, there's always going to be one or two that you can dismiss as they could have had a weird personality. They could have had their own beef. They could have had an agenda, whatever it is. But when they have this high of a turnover rate, I'm sorry, you can't just dismiss that. These people didn't get together and collectively decide, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to all claim that she's a monster. Even though she bakes us cookies and brings in puppies every Friday, we're going to claim she's a monster. No, I don't think that's okay. Crown. Yeah, I just need a little break for that. I don't think that that's what's happened. I think this just doesn't come out of nowhere. That again, where there's smoke, there's fire. So I think about the high staff turnover, and I think about, remember Doofus put in his book Spare. Oh, that book. I want that time of my life back. He put in his book Spare about the employees crying at their desks. Now, he claimed that it's because they were so worried about his and William's relationship and I think the Fab Four falling out. I think it was more about him and William. And I say to that, no employee is crying at their desk over your family dynamic. That's not happening. If you believe that, you are more delusional than I already thought. And that's kind of shocking because I already think they're like the two most delusional people ever. But it truly shows their ability to reason away what's right in front of them. I just find that completely ludicrous. And again, every time I say ludicrous, I just did it then. I think, anybody like Spaceballs? Ludicrous, ludicrous speed. That's what I think of. This is ludicrous speed. Let me put back on my crown and think about how ludicrous this is. You know, she wore this thing to the office, right? You know, she did. All right, we'll talk about that. Okay. All right, back off. Oh, we'll get to the crown. Oh, now I have crown hair. Here we go. Let's see if I can become a nightmare with crown hair. All right, let me fix this for a second. All right, here we go. So the high staff turnover, red flag. All the allegations of bullying in the past, red flag. Again, you could maybe dismiss one or two people as, maybe they had axe to grind. Maybe they they didn't want to work long out, whatever it is, fine. No, this many people turn over this fast, and not just with the royal family where Harry and Meghan claimed things were so awful. They turn over from Archwell as well. So how do you explain that? Are these people just getting together and just collectively deciding, okay, let's really screw them over. Let's all quit at the same time because it'd be hilarious. No, that's not what's happening. It doesn't make you can't make it make sense. You never can. But yeah, I want to get into this because I think this is interesting and it points to again this mean girls thing that we've heard time and time again. I just I think it's too important to just completely ignore. She likes to contrast her public image with this, which I find just so Harry and Meghan. It's always they say the opposite of their actions. So she'll be out there giving speeches on anti-bull stuff. You know why I have to dance around that word YouTube, but you can't say it a bunch. But anyway, anti that stuff. And yet the accusations continue to fly. Again, you can't make this make sense. One of my favorite books, as you know, is Revenge. And with Revenge, it's a lot of revenge. He goes into this. He goes into her, again, I have to say alleged, but too many stories that match up. Revenge, Cordia's Lady C's book. Interesting that they all tell a similar story, paint a similar picture of a monster. I think of things like the alleged tea throwing incident in Australia. And again, how we heard stories of staff crying in their cars and quitting and taking long leaves and things like that. That doesn't scream a great work environment. In fact, if I recall correctly, it's reported that a lot of the staff that left upset, Harry and Meghan, went on to work for William and Catherine. So, what could that mean? It's not the palace that's making them crazy. It's not the job making them crazy, assuming they got a similar job. It seems like it might be Meghan. So, Harry and Meghan. Again, I don't like just putting the blame just on her. So, Harry and Meghan seem to be making people a little nuts. It might be time to look inward and see what's going on there. Just saying. But I just think this is too important to just dismiss. So I thought we could talk about it and spend a little time on it because I just think it says so much about what it would be like to work for her. Okay, so let's get into this. So Meghan Markle has been described as acting like a mean girl's teenager and becoming cold towards staff. Again, they're referencing the Vanity Fair. I lost the will to live trying to read that thing. I talked about that in yesterday's video. So I pulled this Daily Mail one because they pick out some of the talking points I thought would be more interesting, but it does come from the Vanity Fair article. They can't decide if it's pro or anti and went on for 10 miles long. Anyway, so the Duchess is, nope, I don't say her title. That one would reportedly be warm and effusive toward employees. Yeah, of course you would. At the start, before turning cold and withholding. Huh. Where have we seen that? Oh, yeah, that's what she does with Harry. Huh. Toward the person she perceived to be responsible when something went poorly, often due to Meghan and Harry's own demands. So this is a theme that we've constantly heard. And what I want to go back to, and you're gonna be like, Jen, how does that oh, excuse me. Let me put on my thinking cap and we'll talk through this. Here we go. I would like to take a trip back to a very messy wedding dress. You're like, Jen, what does that have to do with anything? I've heard reports, you have to say allegedly, right? I've heard the reports, as I'm sure you have as well, that the reason that thing was so messy, is because she continued to change her mind, make demands, act like a cow to become British for a minute, and just kept making things more and more difficult on everybody else. So I say look to the wedding dress because it seems to be a theme. I don't think you have a wedding dress that's that bad and that messy without having problems like that behind the scene. I just don't. And people said, well, she lost a significant amount of weight beforehand. Fine, whatever. I don't like to talk bodies. Maybe she did that. That happens with brides. Fine. That doesn't explain the 10,000 wrinkles that was all over it. It doesn't explain, it might explain the ill fit, but there's just so much that was wrong with that dress. You can't blame that on her crazy hair and the crazy fit. I mean, the crazy, again, wrinkles and stuff all over that dress. The whole thing just was a train wreck. So I think that points to a bigger picture that there might just be some truth to this. We've heard too many stories of it. There just might be some truth to this. Plus, I assume she walked around with something like this around the office. So there's that. All right. So let's see. We read that one. Let's go on to the next page. So it says a source who worked in media projects told the publication she's constantly playing checkers. I'm not even going to say chess, but she's just very aware of where everybody is on the board. That's interesting. Because my my instinct is to say chess, but okay, fine, fair enough. Maybe I love the game of chess. Maybe she's not sharp enough to play chess. So maybe it is checkers. Maybe she's bouncing around the board and jumping over people. Yeah, maybe checkers makes more sense. But I don't understand. I don't understand who's still going to work for her. I don't understand why I get NDAs. I just wonder though, if things got bad enough, under what circumstance can you break an NDA? Now, I have heard people say you don't want to do that because then it exposes yourself, and then you're faced with the Meghan's mediocre mafia, sugars and stuff. All right, fair enough. I'm just thinking this out. I wish some of those would be let out and then they could talk. But okay, fair enough. I get it. I always get comments saying, Jen, you don't want to further victimize these people. I don't. You're right. You're right. I don't. But you know how you say, I'd like to be a fly on the wall for this or that. I'd like to be a fly on the wall to know exactly what those employees were put through, because I'm sure it was hell. I want to know exactly what happened in Australia, because it sounds like that was one of the times allegedly where it came to a head. Screaming fits, allegations of tea being thrown, things like that. I'd really like to know. Oh, the other allegation is that they brought in Jessica Mulroney because Meghan needed her for the trip, and then Jessica also treated the staff like crap. So I would like to know, when we talk about what would you like to know behind the scenes, that's one of the things I'd really like to know about, is that whole Australia trip, because I feel like there's so much shenanigans that went on. And I heard so many stories and rumblings of screaming matches behind the scenes. I'd like to know about that. All right, let's keep going with this though. Checkers. Can you imagine? I mean, that's honestly what kind of got me more interested in narcissism, is I had a narcissistic boss. We've all worked for somebody that's been a nightmare, I'm sure, or had some sort of, whether or not a full-on narcissist, had some narcissistic traits. It's so difficult. I was trying to think, gosh, it's been probably, I don't know, 10 plus years since I left the job I'm thinking of. And it's still like, oh, it's like, I don't want to talk about it. It was bad. So I think I've had comments from a lot of you that relate that, working for the wrong person. And I'm not just talking about a crap job where you're just like, I don't love this job, but an actual horrible boss, a mean boss. It haunts you. I remember that stress so well. So I feel for anybody in that situation. Now let's continue on. When you're not in, you're to be thrown to the wolves at any given moment. Sounds lovely. I think I'd rather take my chances to the wolves than I would with Meghan, which they say meant undermining behavior, adding, it's talking behind your back. It's gnawing at your sense of self, really like Mean Girls teenager. Okay, so that was something that Jason Kanoff, again, it's been a while since I've read Say It With Me, Revenge, but I believe that was something that he'd put in his report, is Meghan usually has her sights set on somebody, and it was usually a woman, and it was behavior like we're reading about, that it was all about undermining them, making them feel less than, where they're crying at their desk in their car and stuff. Again, I think when there's so many stories, I'm sitting here, I just caught a glimpse of myself. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about crying. When there's so many stories, sorry, I'm Meghan right now. Look at me, look at my crown. When there's so many stories though of similar, what's the word, ghoulish behavior, awful behavior. Oh, excuse me. I keep my list right here and I've covered it up. That's why I keep saying awful. So let's try again. When there's similar stories of appalling, atrocious, ghastly, horrendous behavior, again, where there's smoke, there's fire. I think it's just too much. I mean, it's too many similar stories to not give some weight to them. So that's my opinion. All right. Let's see. We read that and it said, however, producer Jane Marie, there's always one. There's always one. Worked with the couple during development of Archwell audio projects. Insisted to Vanity Fair that Meghan is just a lovely, genuine person. Okay. All right. I want to know about you, Jane Marie. Are you on the payroll? Why would you come forward and say this? And I'll make the argument of this. I said this before. Okay. They tried to argue Harry and Meghan are great people when they were out playing look at me, look at us during the fires. And I made the argument then, all right, pick the worst. Again, I'm trying to dance around YouTube and words. Pick the worst that you can think of, the person that did the most, like the rhymes with Smeffrey Smommer, people like that. I'm sure he held the door open for an old lady one time in his life. I'm sure he maybe reached a can off the top shelf for somebody one time in his life. Does that make him a good person? No, it does not. So again, one employee saying that Meghan is, oh no, she's great. She's genuine lovely. All right. How many hours did you work with her? Were you paid to say this? Was she, maybe she genuinely was lovely to this person. It doesn't negate the horribleness to everybody else. I hate to talk about this guy, but the guy that pops into my head rhymes with Smarvy Smeinstein. You know what I'm talking about? Movie, producer and stuff. There are so many awful stories that match up, right? But there were a few that came forward and said, nope, business transactions, no problem. Fine. Okay, great. So it doesn't mean he did it to everybody, but it doesn't negate the awful things that were done to the people who survived things. So I really hate this argument. I really do. I don't think one good deed for a bad person does not make you a good person. Got that? And vice versa. No. I'm really good at this analogy. You get what I'm saying. One good deed for her, treating one person nicely or two people nicely out of a pool of however many does not make you a good person. We don't know about this Jane Marie. She could have been very influential. Her brother's cousin's bus driver could have been head of some movie franchise, whatever. I don't know what the word is, movie mogul. And Meghan might know that. So you don't think Meghan would lay on the charm for somebody like a Jane Marie if she thought she could get something out of it? I'm just telling you, use your critical thinking. A lot of people have lost their critical thinking. That's why I sit here tapping my head. Let's get that back. Let's think critically here. A lot of people are saying the same thing. There seems to be rumblings and it's carried throughout the years. And I don't think that people just got together to make up these lies. I don't think, in my opinion, allegedly. I think, in my opinion, she seems like a real monster. Fire me. I would actually ask to be fired from that situation. Just saying. All right. Elsewhere, the profile details allegations from former employees of Meghan, who reportedly felt mistreated during their time working with her. Again, interesting that a lot of the stories, except for Jane Marie's, we really need to know about Jane Marie, fair reporting and stuff. They all match up. All right. These claims, which echo accusations. See, again, we're hearing similar stories. I think that's interesting from her time at Kensington Palace. Here's the crazy part. The thing that all this has in common, besides Meghan, is that it takes so little effort to be nice. So little effort. But it's like she watched Devil Wears Prada. And she decided, nope, that's who I'm going to be. And then she does this. She's like, you will call me ma'am. I am Duchess of Sussex. Oh my God, can you imagine? I'm just thinking, like, again, I've worked for a horrible narcissistic boss, and it'd be like, okay, I've got my assignment done. They're like, do you know how hard things are for me? Do you know everything's about me, me, me? So that's Meghan's show all day long. I need this assignment. I'm just thinking how Meghan would talk to her. I'm just totally, working this out in my head. She'd be like, I need this assignment done right. I am the Duchess of Sussex. It's my name on this thing. It's just awful. I'd like to remind everyone that she And Doofus said that they work 1 hour a week. What was it, on their taxes or something? So, there's that. Okay. That actually is impressive. If you can work 1 hour a week on whatever project it was, I think it was, I don't know, doesn't matter. Maybe just on work in general. That sounds more right. That's impressive to only work 1 hour a week and to have this many stories of being a complete monster. Just let that sink in. I'm marinating on that right now. Just think about it. All right, I gotta take this thing back off because I feel ridiculous. But I do love that crown. All right, let's keep going with this article. Despite the bombshell accusations made in the profile, staff loyal to Harry and Meghan, have previously defended the couple to Us Weekly magazine. Oh, yeah, that's a really reputable one. They're as bad as People. We've seen the puff pieces coming out. Describing those two as caring. Caring about what? About whom? Caring bosses who give employees their children's old baby clothes. Oh my God. All right. Again, I smell burnt toast because this comes up a lot. This is their favorite clapback. Okay. All right. Here we go. Ready? This is their favorite. I can't with this. Can't. Look, it's so good to be able to show you my face on all this because seriously, what? This is their favorite clapback move. Is to say, oh, but they give old clothes. What am I talking about? Oh, don't worry. I'll tell you. I have a video up. Now, where was she at? Was this Nigeria? Crap. I have a video up. I think it's pinned to my no, it was not. It was not Nigeria. Where was she? It doesn't matter where she was. Wherever she was. These women. Oh, it's going to bug me. Anyway, it's one of those events where you get together and it's for women that were struggling. They're impoverished. Some, I think they're affected by HIV and AIDS, things like that. Meghan made the whole thing about herself. Acted like a real mean girl. I'll try to link the video because I want you to see this video if you haven't already. It's one of the crazier things that I've seen Meghan do. Acted like a mean girl, decided she wanted to get on the floor, so made these women sit on the floor with their babies. And then made a huge deal like it was her own baby shower, put herself in the middle and opened a present. What was the present? Like her kids' hand-me-downs. Okay. All right. And I've said before, listen. I get it. Hand-me-downs are great for the rest of us. I get it. It's something, you know what I mean? It's something I raised my kid in. It's something I'm sure we've all done. It happens. I'm not even knocking that. It's Meghan's tone deafness and thinking that her hand-me-downs are the best hand-me-downs in the whole world. Everybody wants these. It's just like a new way of kissing your own rear, your own goose feathers that I've never seen before. She was basically applauding for herself giving out hand-me-downs and then going, oh, and holding it up like it was a baby shower at this previous event. So I assume that's what's happening here. Oh, I'm giving you this. Aren't you the luckiest? It's like, no, I don't want your stuff. Anyway, so to describe her as caring because of that. Okay. Oh, also she gives out flesh. What's a flesh flower? Oh, I don't know. Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Fresh flowers, not flesh flowers. Good Lord. Title of my blank tape. All right. She hands out fresh flowers. I'm just going to skate right past. Actually, you know what? If Meghan could go incognito in her hat, I'm going incognito in my crown. Okay. She hands out fresh flowers, not flesh flowers. If you're still watching this, will you do me a favor and write flesh flowers in my comments? Thank you. That'll make me laugh. I appreciate that. Okay. Fresh flowers to her staff. I'm sorry. Again, what is this place that we work at? Raise your hand if you want fresh flowers from your boss. I'll wait. No, me neither. I want cash. I want gift cards. I don't want fresh flowers. I'll take flowers. But I'm saying, she's saying this like she wants a pat on the back. Did I say pat on the back for giving beige flowers that nobody wants. We've seen her choice in flowers. We're going to watch it. No, we're not. I'm going to take one for the team and watch the Netflix show and we'll discuss the beige flowers. Nobody wants that. Nobody. I bet you she charges them. Can you imagine? She gives them flowers and then she deducts it from their paycheck. I bet she does that. Okay, let's keep going. Josh Kettler. Oh, who could forget that? Okay. Sorry. And she gives out care packages. I'm sorry. What? Did she give one to Harry? Because he might need to know she cares a little bit. Because based on letting him write that crap in spare, she doesn't care. Based on his facial expressions that we've seen in appearances, she doesn't care. How do we think she cares? Because she yells hand. I'm stuck on that. I keep talking about that hand thing. That will never not be funny to me. Hand. Just try that. I want you guys to go home to your significant other or even your good friend. Do you hold hands with your friend? Maybe. Spicy. We're holding hands. All right. I want you to yell at your friend, your partner, your dog, whoever. Hand and just see what happens. See if they're just like, what? Now, if they have a good sense of humor, they'll probably give you their hand. But I would just like to know how many people go, what? Is something wrong? What's on my hand? Anyway, all right. I digress. Josh Kettler, Harry's chief of staff, who left after just 3 months in August last year. Not only that, I'd like to remind you all, in case this article doesn't, because I don't know, he left right before Columbia. That was a big clue that some things were going really wrong because he left right before. I'm thinking if things were all on track for that trip, that he probably would have stuck it out through the trip. No, he left was it the day before? I don't know. It was really close to the time that they were going to Columbia. Ooh, I may have clicked too quick. Yep, I did. Insisted he was warmly welcomed by the pair and describes them as dedicated and hardworking. Hey, Josh, blink 3 times if you're being held against your will. Why would you say that? If it's that warm and welcoming, why would you leave after after 3 months? Blink if you need help, Josh. Did money change hands to say this? Was this part of your I don't know how this works. I'm just guessing. Was this part of your contractual agreement that should you part ways, you're not allowed to disparage? I'd really like to know. Do they have a pre-written out statement that you have to sign in case you part ways? So that way they can always pull it out and say, you were warmly welcomed. They're dedicated and hardworking. I'm sorry. If nothing else tells you that this is complete BS, it should be the fact that they're referring to them as dedicated and hardworking. No, no, no. We don't describe that. No, that's not what they are. Hardworking. Sorry. Was it 72 engagements with the royal family? Hardworking? How many podcasts? Hardworking? Hardworking. Called lazy effing grifters, right? That's hard. No, not hardworking. Anyway, that should tell you, that should negate the whole statement right there. Ben Browning. Oh, Ben, let's talk about you, Ben. What's your deal? Former head of content who's responsible for their Tell All Netflix documentary, but then left before the end of his contract. Sounds like things were going really well for Ben, right? When things are so great that you leave before your contract's up, things are really good. Okay. Says his experience at the company with Meghan and Harry in general was positive and supportive. Okay. All right. Okay. Blink if you need help too, Ben. But again, I'll say maybe it was. Maybe Ben had the best time ever, but still decided to leave before his contract was out. Whatever. That makes no sense. But let's say Ben had the best time ever. Does that negate how many people have turned over? Like 20 some odd? I don't remember the number, but like 20 some odd people. Does that negate all their terrible experiences? If I'm going back to the Knopf statement, he pointed out that it was usually a woman that Meghan had in her sights. So much for feminism, right, Meg? But if that's the case, one could argue, I'm not there, I don't know, but I'm critical thinking. Could it be that, so they've quoted 2 men and 1 woman. So could it be that they're mostly going to men for a reason? I don't know. Sounds interesting. It's an interesting theory if you ask me. Their PR chief, global press secretary Ashley Hansen, who's leaving the company to start her own firm, says they treated her. Okay. All right. I can't with this. Cool. So these people are saying they're great. I'm sorry, but if they're really, really great, sorry. We don't often see William and Catherine ever put out statements like this because they don't need to. If somebody's great to work for, you let that speak for itself. You just don't hear negative stuff coming out about William and Catherine and what they're like to work for. And I don't believe that a lot of the people that left Harry and Meghan to go work for William and Catherine would have done so if it was the same kind of work environment. I just don't believe it. It doesn't make any sense. And I remember researching before when I talked about this topic, a lot of them have stayed on. Not all, people move jobs, but a lot of them stayed on long term. So you cannot make this make sense. I don't care how they're trying to paint it. You cannot make it seem like Meghan is this wonderful person to work for. And she's always, great, very supportive, hardworking. No, never. These positive comments came off the back of a negative piece called, sorry, geez. These positive comments came off the back of a negative piece published in the Hollywood Reporter, which called Meghan a dictator in high heels, lest we not forget that. Tom Bauer, author of, can we say it together? Revenge, described the recent revelations as, quote, devastating for Meghan, especially given her recent attempts to reshape her public persona as warm, loving mother and wife. Okay, she can try to reshape whatever she wants, but there's just again, the actions and words never, ever, 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 ever match up. Ever. She's a loving mother who never appears to spend time with her kids. She's a loving wife who makes her husband's face make that expression. You know what I mean? Come on, what are we doing? You know what I would love? If slash when they separate, I'd love Harry to speak up about this. I mean, he's awful, and I'm not giving him a pass, and it sounds like he makes things hell too. But I would love for Harry to speak up about this and let these people, I don't know how that works, let these people out their NDAs. Let's really hear what happened. Let's hear what that wonderful, supportive, hardworking work environment was like, because I'm calling BS on all of this. I really am. Having invested, I'm skipping the last part, so much in the rebrand herself as a loving, caring Californian wife and mother, the Vanity Fair disclosures have poisoned the smiling image of the welcoming homemaker. Okay. All right. So is this okay? I'm putting this back on because I need my thinking crown. So is this going to be, oh, my thinking crown is kicking in. This is going to be her excuse as to why the Netflix thing, as to why the Netflix thing is flopping. Because they put out the Eastward hit piece in Vanity Fair. So everybody made up their mind that I was awful. All that jazz. So I didn't even have a fair shot. I'm telling you, that's what it is. I didn't even think about this till right now. That's what it is. I'm onto something. Oh my goodness gracious. Just the idea that she thinks she's portraying this smiling image of a welcoming homemaker. Okay. Would you ever use the word welcoming to describe Meghan Markle? No? Should we call up her dad on speed dial or on speakerphone and ask him if he thinks that she's welcoming? Should we call up any member of the royal family and ask if they think she's welcoming? Should we call up any members of these staff that we're talking about, see if they think she's welcoming? That's the other thing I talk about too with the Meghan's mediocre mafia, the sugar, whatever, her followers, her minions. I would like to see them work for her for one day. And just see if they still fully support her. I'd like to see if their tune changed at all from that, because can you imagine what a nightmare that would be? Oh, just awful. Goodness gracious. All right. Prince Harry too faces growing scrutiny. Yeah, because that guy sucks. With experts noting his portrayal in the Vanity Fair pieces lost, out of his depth, and naive. Might I add angry, because he seems like angry too. Dim and angry, I think, are good words to describe that dude. Richard Fitzwilliams, a royal commentator, warned that the couple's reputation in the U.S. could be severely damaged. Oh no, it has been. It has been. I mean, just like her husband's name, it has been. Look no further than the fires. Look no further than the Oprah interview. Should we continue on the Netflix, the curtsy? What else you got? I mean, they just keep doing these things to themselves. And the thing is, it was theirs to screw up. It really was. They could have come this way. And yes, we know what they did with the royal family, but a lot of people weren't, I don't think they were wise to it. I think they started to see with the Oprah interview. If they just gone wherever and shut up and raised their kids and not been horrible monsters, my channel would have been about basket weaving or yarn spinning. I don't know, something different and not this. But nope, they can't do it. They cannot do it. So they're awful people and they can't shut up, and their awfulness shows because they can't shut up. They're their own worst enemies in that regard. So, there's that. Harry's portrayed as okay, I read that one. Oh no. Okay, lost in now this depth and naive. I mean, case in point, look who he married. Yeah. Neither, according to the article, appear to understand what a successful career in show business actually involves. They don't understand anything or most things. They don't understand what it's like to be a working royal. They don't understand what it's like to be parents. They don't seem to understand what it's like to be partners. Like, they don't get anything. So, yeah, I don't know. According to Fitzwilliam, the couple's attempts to project a caring, philanthropic image through efforts like helping victims of the wildfires are unlikely to gain traction. You think? I cannot yell that loud enough. You think? In light of the ongoing allegations. That's because they cocked it all up. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It was theirs to screw up. All they had to do was the right thing and not be jerks about it, but they can't do it. They can't. They always have to do, look at me. And they mess it up and they make it about themselves and the photo ops, and we find out all the shady stuff behind the scenes. And yeah, no wonder people are, what'd they say? Like, uh, unlikely to gain traction. All right. Their attempts to project, let me move this. Their attempts to project a caring image by helping some of those affected by the cataclysmic wildfires currently ravaging California. They won't get far after publicity like this is given to this. Her With Love, Meghan cookery series is judging from the trailer saccharine and silly. This was postponed and is now scheduled for release on the 4th of March, but unenthusiastic online reaction might make the streaming giant think twice and dump it. When their contract runs out later this year, preserve very little of it, if any. What do you guys think? I keep asking this question, but now that more time has passed, what do we think? Do you think they'll dump it? I don't think they will. I might be wrong. I don't think they will. If they've already filmed it, what do they, you know what I mean? Like if it's paid for, I don't know how that works, but I'm just saying if it's paid for and it's filmed, what do they have to lose? It can't get worse. And they know, I think they bank on people hate watching it too. So I don't think they'll dump it. That's just my opinion. But you can let me know in the comments what yours is. You can also let me know, what do you think of the crown? I love it. I'm boss. I'm a girl boss. I hate that girl boss stuff. I find that so condescending. I just do. I really do. I'm all for women bosses. I have been one. But if somebody called me a girl boss, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, I'm so much more than that. I can do these things and I don't have to. Okay, anyway. Girl boss. All right. I just find that so condescending. So let's see here. It's scheduled for, okay, we talked about that. The Sussex, those two, have made so many accusations against the royal family. Yes, because what else? What other skills do they have? They just like to try to accuse people of awful things and try to make money that way. They especially Meghan now have a lot to answer. Nobody likes bullies, especially entitled ones. I almost lost my crown. There are so many things that I picture in my head that I want to have conversations with our Catherine about. I want to know about this. I want to know exactly, I always say, I want to know exactly what Meghan put Catherine through. That's important. I want to know how Meghan treated that staff and what William and Catherine had to do to help. Because I feel like we heard that's part of it is they had to swoop in and help because things were bad. And that's what alerted Catherine that things were really wrong, is how the staff were reacting to Harry and Meghan. I might have this a little wrong. It's been a year since I've read these books, but it was something like that. They realized that something was wrong, and instead of ignoring it, they tried to help, and that created some of the divide with Harry and Meghan. It was something along those lines. Oh, just awful, awful people. All right. And then it kind of goes into the fires and how awful, and yeah, we know all that. So I'm going to leave that there. But guys, I want to know your thoughts on all this. I keep saying where there's smoke, there's fire, and I didn't even think about all the crap they've done with the wildfires. I did not do that on purpose. It just kind of fits. But I want to know your thoughts on all this. This bullying report, I wish we could get a hold of it. But I know every time I say that, I get backlash saying, not backlash, but you guys saying, no, you can't do that because then you're exposing these people to further like online harassment and stuff. I get that. Can we retract the names? Can we black them out with a big black Sharpie? I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I want to know what the accusations are. I want to know how many people accuse them. And I want to know if it's similar accusations, because again, if they're all saying the same thing, there might be something to that. Just saying. But again, they live in delusional denial world. So a lot of people said the same thing about the Netflix trailer by hitting the thumbs down, and they live in delusional denial world. And they're like, oh, it'll be out in March. Okay. All right. Oh, to live with that kind of delusion. I feel like I'd be a much happier person. Oh gosh. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on all this. I have so many thoughts on all this. Are you as disgusted as I am? Cool. Let me know. Thank you so much for being here, for watching. I'm going to shout out my Patreon members. If you're interested in Patreon, check it out. It's www.patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. Yes, it's my old name, but it's tons of content. So hundreds of videos over there. Go check those out. Really having a lot of fun over there. Did an unboxing on the last one, kind of having more just heart-to-heart chats, and people seem to be enjoying that. So check that out if you're interested. But as always, thank you so much for being here. Oh, guys, let's see. So today's Tuesday. This is going up Tuesday. So maybe I'll do a live chat tonight if I can. If I can swing it, I'll do a live chat. I'll let you know. And then I'm sitting down very soon with the attorney, John Witherspoon. So make sure your questions are in under the community tab. And I'll get those ready for my interview with him. And if you're on Patreon, he agreed to take some of our juicy questions for Patreon. So he might tell us a little inside stuff. So I'm excited about that. Anyway, thank you, John Witherspoon, for being such a good sport about that. But guys, thank you so much for being here. You know, you mean the whole wide world to me. I'm going to leave you on a fancy note. I'm going to insist that you address me as Lady Honkington. Lady Goose. There you go. Lady Goose. I'm Lady Goose. But with the crown, do I need to be elevated? Oh, I'm elevated like mint. Somebody said I should put mint on my crown. I thought that was brilliant. I might have like a little like spice jar or something that has mint in it. I can just put that on my head. I might have like, I like peppermint hot chocolate, so I might have like mint flavoring. I'll put that on my head. I'm very fancy, okay? And you shall address me. You shall not look in my eyes. I'm seeing what it's like to work for Meghan, or to be Meghan. You don't look in my eyes. What would be some of her demands? You don't look in my eyes. You address me as ma'am. You use my titles. What else would she demand? You tell me I'm gorgeous every time I walk in the office. I don't know. It's like you play look at me, but you can't look in my eyes. It'll just be demands like that. Let me know what you think her demands are. I'm sure I'm missing something. Thank you nobody's allowed to discuss Catherine. All right. Thank you so much for being here. You know, you mean the whole wide world to me. I can't wait to bring you more stuff like this, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.